What is going on, guys? Sid here with another installment of some Tekken 8 gameplay footage. And guys, we're deviating slightly from the One Perfect Match series, and we are doing a Tekken 8 long play. It's been a while since we've had a long play video on this channel. And guys, it's not my fault. I swear to you, it is not my fault. Guys, my PlayStation 5 is crapping out. I think it's on its last limbs. I've stated this in a couple videos prior to this. I think it could be a hardware issue. It could probably be one of the fans malfunctioning or possibly a firmware issue, but I know a lot of other people are dealing with this, and quite possibly a lot of streamers and a lot of content creators in the PlayStation 5 community probably at one point or another kind of like have to deal with these issues, because they're pretty much, you know, like pushing the console. It's just like any car, right? Just like any car, it's just gonna accumulate wear and tear, mileage. And yeah, guys, I'm making the best of a bad situation because I probably have maybe, I want to say 5 matches on a good day. 5 matches. I can get 5 matches in, right? 5 full matches, right? All 3 rounds in before my PlayStation just automatically shuts off, right? It automatically shuts off mid-match. And it really does suck, because every time I'm in a recording, right, you'll be in like a great mood, and you know, you're hyped and you're ready to face off with everybody in the community, and you're absolutely just having an absolute fun time. Guys, by the way, we're coming on the we're close to like the 6-month mark in the Tekken 8 community, so everyone that's in the online ranked matches and stuff like that, the guys that are competing in the tournament, are the more serious Tekken 8 players, right, and Tekken players in general, right? So those guys are going to be the diehards, the guys that are in here probably, you know, like day in and day out. That's the only game that they play. We try to feature a couple, different games on this channel, right? I did deviate from Tekken, from the FIFA, right? Originally we were doing FIFA videos, and then we went to Call of Duty like briefly. We did NBA, we did spooky season specials, right? We did a whole bunch of different types of games. We did some old school retro games, right? And we're really just trying to have some fun, keep the communities alive and active, and highlight all of the absolutely epic digital players and esports across the board, right? Just all of the absolutely epic esports community members, right? Because they can all teach you something. Definitely when I was playing all those years of FIFA, you would just come across some of the absolute FIFA GOATs, right? Some of the absolute GOATs in the esports community, right? And you always used to pick up the coolest little tricks and tricks from each one of them. So, guys, you gotta give everyone in every single community the hats off, right? Because it is a sport. It is a sport. Some of you guys don't consider it a sport, right? In terms of like getting actual physical expenditure out, but it does activate different neural pathways. We spoke about that before, and without getting too technical, right, and just trying to enjoy the matches, right, we're trying to like take in the good vibes and take in the good times. As you can see, we've went through a couple segueing here, right? We went through a couple Hwoarang iterations, right? Customizable characters, right? And this particular Hwoarang character customization, right? I used to use this version of the Joker. Well, this is the Undead Joker, right? My spin on the Joker, right? But you can see the references are there. The colors are, you know, like to the T to the most part, right? To the best of my ability. Right? I gave it my best. He went through a couple, like different little trial and errors, right? I tried to make him like really unique, but you know what? I didn't want to make it too identical before I end up with like some other issues, right? But this was my take on the infamous Joker character, and guys, it was absolutely funny. I debuted him in the Tekken 8 community probably like maybe like 4 or 5 days ago, and since I debuted him, right, we switched off of the Kakashi version of the Hwoarang character model, right? We went to the Joker, and since switching from the Kakashi, the Undead Kakashi hybrid, to the Undead Joker hybrid that we created, right? Like, literally everyone in the community was just, like, whooping my behind, right? All of the advanced players, right there. It was just, like, some hidden animosity towards the Joker character model that I had put in so much time and effort into, right? They just absolutely gave me a a butt whooping. It was absolutely epic, right? Obviously, I don't take win streaks too seriously. I don't, you know, like sometimes you could look like you're like stat padding, and I don't want to make that like a primary feature on the channel. We're trying to have fun on the channel, keep the fun factor element alive and well. But as you do go up in the rankings, right? Just in terms of matchmaking, it gets more difficult to do all of those little like signatures and like little like quirks that you like embed into the character. On the left hand side of my screen, by the way, we have an Undead Sailor Moon tuxedo mask hybrid, right? That I created, right? So if you were wondering who was on the left hand side of the screen, right? That's who that was supposed to be, right? All of my characters will always have the face mask on, right? And the crow, so you know those are kind of the crow or the corvid, right? Hybrid, embedded just naturally there, right? That's how you'll know it's me, right? For the most part, or if you guys ever, I mean, I don't claim ownership to any of that, right? If you guys be my guest is what I'm saying, and if you do see it and you like how it looks, go ahead and do that yourself, right? And add that little tweak to your character customizations, right? Because we were doing that costume party, right? In the Tekken community, just to keep it, you know, like keep a party atmosphere alive and well to the best of our ability, right? But as you do go up, right? Back to what I'm saying, as you do go up in terms of matchmaking, right? You will naturally just be matched up with, like, you know, like very, very serious Tekken players. And you can't really do all those crazy signatures, right, that you want to do, right? Like, I was like miming out, like, you want to know how I got these scars in my character combinations, right? In the move sets, right? And I was doing things like that, funny little things to the best of my ability with the fighting, right? And just little like quotes and niche quotes and things like that will give the character its feel, right? To make it feel like it is that player, right? Even, you know, like to the T. Like I faced off against a Vegeta Kazuya hybrid that absolutely whooped me last night. I faced a Blade hybrid that absolutely whooped me, right? Gave me a run for my money, right? And a lot of these matches are way more closer than they'll look on paper, right? In terms of like outside of like who got the win or who got the loss, right? Like a lot of the, as you can see, like it says Mighty Ruler on the side, and I'm a Tenryu. Those titles are there, right, to let you know, right, the level of character that you're actually dealing with, right, in terms of like their seriousness, in terms of like movesets for the uninitiated in the Tekken community, right? Obviously, that's why I'm saying. I'm not saying it for, you know, but you know what I'm getting. Everyone that's watching this video will probably know what I'm getting at, right? The matches are gonna look way closer than they actually are, right? For some of them that look like it's just like a straight, like, you know, like a straight win on my end or a straight win on the opponent's end, right? On any given day, I preface by saying this in a couple videos in the Tekken community. Same thing in any of the competitive communities, right? Anyone can beat anyone else on any given day, right? So before like someone gets all like hyper passionate about things, right? Like obviously I'm not that type of Tekken 8 player. I've never been, right? I always talk about that toxicity level, right? We try to keep that toxicity level low on the gaming on the gaming elements of my YouTube channel, right? And a lot of other people do that as well, right? We try to keep that on the low, right? Keep the vibes fresh, keep the vibes active. And guys, sometimes it's absolutely just epic learning, like in terms of like defense, right? Get it on a much more serious Tekken 8 note, like learning defense, right? Sometimes I'll lose, like I'll take like a straight loss. Like my opponent will give me like a perfect loss, right? They'll get the perfect win, right? And that'll usually happen, right? Because you don't usually face off against those characters, right? That have absolutely mastered their character. We're at the 6-month mark, right? So everyone's like specialists, right? Their primary characters are going to be their specialist characters, right? And they'll have their secondary and their third character and whatnot. But what ends up happening, right? Is that it's to the point where your main character, it's going to be highly distinguishable, right? Who your first character is and who your second character is, and things like that, right? Like there you see I got the perfect. But what I'm gonna tell you guys right here, right, is that Yoshi meets you, right? That's an absolutely epic name, by the way, right? Could be toying with me, right? Could be showing me some of the Yoshimitsu move combos, right? And it's like the combinations, right? Especially the signature combinations from each one of the Tekken 8 players in the community are absolutely going to be different, right? They're going to have like the cookie cutter, like 10 hitters, and the cookie cutter 8 hitters and things like that. But the timing of the moves, right? How you mix up the moves, they're going to be completely unique. They're going to be completely, you're going to get fragmented moves, right? You're going to get fragmented combos, right? And that's when you notice, that's when you're always going to know, you're going to be able to separate who the diehards in the Tekken 8 communities are going to be, right? So another thing is that you don't want to, like, for me at least, right? Because of the overheating issues that I've been having, right? I'm going to add a cooling fan, like the external ones. I don't know if it's going to do me any justice, right? I already, like, undusted everything, but I think it's just on its last limbs, right? But yeah, I'll probably get, on a good day, I'll probably get 4 or 5, back to what I was saying about that, right? About the overheating issue. I'll probably get 4 to 5 matches, which is approximately like 20 minutes, right? On a good day, it's probably like 18 to 20 minutes and of gameplay before the console just completely shuts off. So guys, if you ever do get a disconnect from me in the Tekken 8 community, right, in any one of the ranked matches, please understand, I'll preface by saying this in every video, the disconnects are going to be either a server issue or it's going to be the console crapping out. I will never give you guys a rage quit or a DC in Tekken 8 gameplay. I don't take it that seriously, right? I want us all to have a good time, right? And I want to be able to, you know, like translate that into other fighting games and other fighting communities and other, like, esports communities as well, right? I'll probably jump back into... I truly do miss the FIFA / FC24 community, right? I miss that community so much, right? Because I'm not playing it as much, right? But even when I jump into the FC24 gameplay, right, I'll probably get 12 minutes before the console craps out, right? So definitely have to either service the console, get a new console, right? I'll look into it, right? But I have so much of my games are stored on here, right? I mean, it's on the cloud, but at the same time, I still want the copy on my hard drive and stuff like that. So I'm scared. I'm scared to part ways with the console, right? That's what's going on there as to why I didn't get a new console as of yet. My TV crapped out too, right? So I have a new TV as well, right? I updated it to like one of the Ultra HD TVs, right? Still getting the hang of that, right? And on a side note, I started so outside of the Tekken 8 gameplay, right? On a side note, like my personal life, I told you like my health was like, you know, it was like getting in the red, right? Getting in like the extreme caution areas, right? Because it's just like external stressors and just, you know, personal life issues, right? So my health was like teetering for like a good year and a half now, especially because of like that sedentary lifestyle. So I tried to like reincorporate some of like my old school hardcore training and things like that. And obviously I'm older with a lot more injuries and things like that. So I tried marathon running like 2 weeks ago, right? And I'm a little too heavy for my frame right now, right? And I tried the distance running and the stamina's still there for the most part, right? But the body is just, you know, like you can't get, especially since you know, like, you know, I'm a dense dude, right? I'm dense, right? I'm physically very dense, and I've had a lot of microfractures from martial arts and things like that. So I'm a pretty dense dude. But what ended up happening was that I tried to do the distance running, right? And I think it had to do with the sneaker I was wearing at the time and the day, right? And probably how long. And my body was just like reacclimating to that level of like training again. And I kind of like sustained a minor injury on my left metatarsal, right? It's fairly common, right? It's fairly common in martial arts, right? So, like, my pain threshold is pretty good, right? It's pretty high. Not like it was before, but here's the thing, right? Like, I rested it, rice, right? Rest, ice, compression, elevation, all that good stuff. But it was minor enough that, you know, you don't really notice it. So I'm just like relaxing. I'm playing the Tekken, and the console keeps dying out. Plus, you know, it's like it's June, right? It's going to be the ending of June soon, and the temperature is like it's in the 80s and 90s, right? So obviously the console's going, and it's extremely hot, and I'm ricing outside of the FIFA gameplay, and I'm like I'm going back to all my old strict clean eating habits and things like that. Good times, right? So I'm just like outside of the obvious stressors, right, on my plate, when you're tacking on too much on your plate. So I was like lost in like pensive thought, right? Like extremely pensive, like just like not melancholic, just like I was just like lost in thought, right? Like I don't know what was bugging me that day, but my drawer had came loose, right, in my room, and I was like halfway like trying to fix like the drawer, but then I was like getting like lost in thought, and I'm being meta-analytical, right? And I'm like trying to catch myself, right? Like I'm like, dude, like chill out, right? So I was like trying to like slot the drawer back in, right? Because it had came loose, and I was like trying to slot it back into the grooves correctly and everything. And I took my eye off the ball for like just like 2 seconds, right? And it was like the top drawer, right? So I think you guys know where I'm going with this, right? So then it didn't catch correctly, and by some freak, like just not me being clumsy, right? It just falls, and it falls at the angle where the metal piece of the drawer falls directly onto my big toe, right? So and I'm like lost in thought, right? So that's what I get for being so lost in thought, right? Probably worrying about like my already busted leg, right? Getting my health back up, getting my console ready, getting some videos out to you guys, getting some good vibes out to you guys. But yeah, guys, I'm like lost in thought. And then, like that snap back to reality moment kind of just happens, and the drawer just falls on my foot, right? And I just give out the hugest like yell, right? Like the FML yell, right? Oh, what now? Right? Like that, right? Like so, already injured my left leg, and then on top of that, got sustained one on my toe, my big toe. So then my family didn't believe me. They're like, oh yeah, you're just like obviously I'm not one to exaggerate, especially no martial artist will ever, no prior martial artist will ever exaggerate their injuries. They sustain a million injuries, right, all the time, right? So my mom, for some reason, she didn't believe me, right? I was just like joking, and we're just joking in like in private text and things like that, right? She's like, no, you're being dramatic, nothing happened. I'm like, oh, nothing happened, right? I'm like, my freaking toe turned green, right? My toe turned green, and I was like compressing it and icing it, and it's probably an infection, right? A minor infection, right? But like that happened, and it just got an ice pack pronto, and I was just like, okay, you know what, this week is just, I'm having a week, right? I'm having an annoying week, right? At most, that's just gonna be a minor nuisance to me, right? I'm like, I'm having a week, I really just want to get back to the park, I want to get some physical activity in, the weather is really nice for some outdoor, like some like good times, some outdoor catch, like catch games, and just like some physical activity, right? So, just to train. Obviously, I don't want to head back to the gym like right away, but I think I'm gonna end up like redisciplining, right? I don't want to get into this, right? Because then I'm gonna just end up being a strict, stern person, and I don't like that, right? Because anyone who's ever like done that strict dieting, right? It ends up, the Will Ferrell joke is there, the Will Ferrell meme about clean eating is there, right? And it's true, right? It's hell. It's hell. It's gonna be hell, but I'm gonna have to do it because it's summer, right? And I can't use the line that I'm just bulking up, right? I gotta get my beach body in. You're supposed to technically get your beach body in the winter months, right? But no. I decided to make some Tekken 8 gameplay footage, right? And do some other stuff, right? Obviously, it's good to have novel experiences, right? So, I do like to tack on a lot on my plate, but I think right now, like, I'm just casually just removing things off my plate, right? And when that drawer hit my foot, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm too lost in thought, right? I think when I went, I bought some outdoor food on my cheat day, right? And and the guy that was serving me the food, right? He's like, bro, every time I see you, right? You're physically here, but you're always spacing out. You're zoning out. Why are you so lost in thought? And then he was like, listen, you need to take some fish oil, right? It's like, because you're always, your mind is wandering way too much. But like, naturally, I'm a naturally healthy person, right? For the most part, right? So I'm like, which reminds me, take my fish oil supplements, right? So yeah, good times. So I'm like, yeah, I'm getting back the omegas in my diet and things like that. It's just good times. I'm rambling, right? I'm rambling. But in this match, I was facing off against Shadow Soul with the rank Mighty Ruler, and we were having an absolute blast, right? We were just screwing around, right? And obviously, Shadow Soul was playing at a very high tempo. If you rewatch that match, right, and Azucena players are just like no joke, right? I think she was like Shadow Soul was like using like a version of like, it's not a she, I don't know if that's the gender of the person, right? Shadow Soul, the person, right, the PlayStation user, right, in the Tekken 8 community, that person, right, had like, I think like a spin or like a take on like Storm. I could be wrong, right? But it looked very close to Storm. But I take Azucena players in Tekken 8 very seriously, right? Outside of like the Kazuya and the Jin, the overpowered characters, right? I take the Azucena players seriously because like I got my butt handed to me, like no joke, like back-to-back losses with just Azucena characters. I think the Victor characters are starting to give me some work, right? But it does come down to pattern recognition in terms of like blocking. When you're playing defense, right? If you're not used, I think the Shazim characters in the past week absolutely just annihilated the crap out of me as well, right? There are a lot of like tweaks that I have to make in terms of like defense when using Hwoarang, right? When using my primary character, right? And playing quote unquote serious Tekken, right? We don't do that, right? We just want to have some good times. But I think you get the point, right? The point was that, you know, like when you don't usually face off against the less popular characters, right? What ends up happening is that you don't recognize the combos, right? And the combo breakups, and the pattern breakups, and the rhythmic breakups, and things like that. And that just kind of like, that becomes an issue, right? So a lot of people were giving me some serious L's, right? I was getting a lot of serious L's, right? I was taking a lot of serious L's this week, right? But yeah, in multiple ways. But it was absolutely good times, right? You gotta take it on the chin, right? Which is what we do. It's what we do here, right? And you just, you know, you try your best to make the best out of some bad situations, however they may appear in life. But, you know, without getting too serious about anything, we're trying to have some good times on the channel. And I'm just happy that I got a 25-minute video out to you guys. And I got scared right there because, as you can see, the frames kind of like dipped. Right? It could have been just connection, but usually when I see the frames start dipping like that, it usually means my console is overheating, like about to overheat and then about to crap out, and then you guys will get like that disconnect from me, right? So that's how it usually like happens, and like that was my cue. That was my cue, right? Like at the 23-minute mark, that was my cue. Dude, hurry it up, finish the recording, right? And cut the gameplay. Right, so I made sure, like, when I did this recording, it was like 11:30 at night, right, where I am, right, the temperature was, like, fairly decent, I've got the AC on, right, I tried to, like, eliminate the variables, right, plus the connection, right, I wanted to get some, like, crisp games in where the connection didn't dip. There are a lot of, like, Tekken purists that only do 5-star connections and stuff like that, right, and it's for a good reason, I understand the reasoning, but then a lot of my other, like, hyper competitive like gamer friends, right, that I've known for like years and years and years, they'll just jump in and they'll like give props. They'll be like, dude, why are you complaining? Why are you being such a diva? I remember this was like maybe like 8 years ago. It's like, why are you being such a diva? Look at this dude in the fighting game community, right? I was still playing FIFA at that time, right? Outside of martial arts and things like that, right? And every other damn activity that I was doing. But they were like, look, this dude is like doing like 10-hit combos, 12-hit combos, 13-hit combos, all on 1,000 milliseconds, right? So I don't take it too seriously. Even if you have like a red bar, I'll still face you, right? It's never anything personal, right? It's just for good times, right? And just for me to test my ability with lag and ping and things like that. But absolute good times. Guys, Peace, love, all the blessings to you and yours. We're coming to the end of this video, and we ended it with a Hwoarang meetup, right? I think this is my second time facing this user, or if not, it's probably a person that has one of the Punk's Hwoarang setups, and it's always good times, right? Because you get to see how they break up their combos with the same player, right? Which is also a learning experience. Guys, I learned so much from you guys this week. You guys and gals, you absolutely beautiful people in the Tekken 8 community. Thanks for having me. Thanks for hosting me, right? Guys, good times. Join in. Feel free to join in. If you see me online, you know it's just absolute good times. Just play. You know I'm just playing, and we're just going to have some good times, right? Peace, love, all the blessings to you and yours. Sid out. 25 minutes. Finally. Cheers.